Vinyl record sales are surging. In fact, they are the highest they've ever been in the last 25 years. And in this video, we're going to find out 10 reasons why record players are suddenly cool again. Hey friends, welcome to Eyezz. I am Jarrett New, and today we're going to be talking about the vinyl resurgence and why having a record player in 2017 is becoming more and more popular. Now, although I mentioned some of these topics in past videos, I thought it'd be good to consolidate all of my thoughts into one video. So if you've never watched any of my older stuff, all you need to do is watch this video and you'll get a good idea of what this whole vinyl thing is all about. But before we get to that, if you already have a turntable and you're looking for some cool records to play on it, then you should definitely check out our sponsor for this video, Enjoy the Ride Records. They specialize in beautiful vinyl re-releases of lots of different kinds of music, including Dream Theater, The Ramones, Good Charlotte, Harvard, Maroon 5, and Kevin Devine. And most of those are on colored, split, or splatter vinyl. Now, what you're really gonna love is they have a sub-label called Enjoy the Tunes Records, which presses soundtracks of famous TV shows on vinyl, specifically animated TV shows like Doug, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Best of Nicktoons, which is like a compilation record featuring 41 classic Nickelodeon songs from their most popular shows in the 90s, and finally they have an amazing SpongeBob SquarePants record on yellow splatter vinyl, featuring, of course, the Fun song, which we should all know by heart at this point. F is for friends who do stuff. I'm not going to sing the rest, but you guys know the one I'm talking about. So anyways, if you want to check them out for yourself, their link is in the video description below. Alright, now let's talk about why record players are cool again. Number 10, streaming and physical media. Well, first off, people have always liked collecting physical items. Everything from jewelry, books, comics, movies, toys, stamps, clothes, shoes, cars, handbags, and lots of other stuff. So in that respect, collecting physical music is no different. It appeals to our own basic human nature of wanting to collect nice things. But in our modern age of streaming and downloading everything, we've kind of lost that basic physical nature of the experience. And that's why a lot of people are coming back to vinyl. When it comes to records, you can actually hold them. You can see the beautiful artwork, you can read the liner notes, put them on your shelf, put them on your wall, frame them, or even give them as a gift. So you have lots of options that you just don't get with streaming. And being that most new records come with a digital download card anyway, you can basically have your cake and eat it too. So that's really cool. Number 9, nostalgia. Another contributing factor to the vinyl resurgence is nostalgia. Culture can sometimes be like a revolving door, and what was once considered old is suddenly new again. And a lot of recent movies, TV shows, and even web shorts have been capitalizing on this growing sense of nostalgia, especially 80s nostalgia. Things like Turbo Kid, Kung Fury, and most recently Stranger Things all have a very strong 80s vibe to them. And they also had all of their soundtracks released on colored vinyl. And in addition to movies, nostalgia is another reason why we're seeing a lot of synthwave and retrowave music in 2017. Everything from Mitch Murder to Perturbator, Betamax, Gunship, Trevor Something, Laserhawk, and pretty much every single music video on the YouTube channel New Retrowave. Those guys are super cool, so you should definitely check out some of their videos. So all of this nostalgia is definitely helping to boost the vinyl resurgence. Number 8, crate digging. As I've mentioned many times on this channel, crate digging is one of the most fun things about getting into this hobby. The act of going to your local record shop and digging through all the different bins, not knowing what you're gonna find, is exciting. It's like a treasure hunt, and if you're patient, sometimes you can find some really good stuff. And more bookstores, clothing stores, and even grocery stores are starting to stock vinyl records again. So when you go to some of those places, you can crate dig through some of their bins, and you might find some cool stuff. Now, most of these places like Barnes & Noble, Whole Foods, Sainsbury's, Tesco and Urban Outfitters are mostly going to have new records from modern pop artists. But regardless, the fact that those records are there in the first place is helping to introduce a lot of new people into vinyl record collecting, which I think is definitely a good thing. And then after they get interested in vinyl, they might even visit a local record shop in their area that they didn't even know existed. And once they walk into a place like Amoeba Records, they're definitely going to be hooked on this new hobby, especially if they love music. So it's that sense of exploring and actively seeking out good music by driving around, visiting record shops, and crate digging. All of that stuff is helping more and more people discover how fun records can be. Number 7. Recent deaths of famous musicians. As we all know, many popular musicians unfortunately died in 2016, including Lemmy Kilmister, Prince, David Bowie, George Michael, Leonard Cohen, and Debbie Reynolds. Now, what's interesting is that usually when a famous artist passes away, people tend to want to pay tribute to them by listening to their music. In fact, when David Bowie died, his final album, Black Star, jumped to the top position on iTunes, and his compilation album, The Best of Bowie, was sitting at number 2, and 4 of his other albums were in the top 20. And speaking from personal experience, when I was at Amoeba Records in Hollywood during that time, all of the vinyl copies of Black Star were completely sold out. So although this is kind of a grim topic, there's definitely a connection there between a popular musician's death and a boost in their record sales after they're gone. Number 6, the vinyl ritual. Another cool thing about getting into vinyl is that you're experiencing music in a whole new way. If all you're used to is pressing play on iTunes, then the act of putting a record down and dropping that needle is gonna seem like magic. And it's all these fun little rituals that can attract a lot of new people into this hobby. Everything from choosing the record on the shelf, to sliding it out of the packaging, choosing which side of the record you want to play, popping it down on the turntable, queuing up the track, dropping the needle, listening, and then finally flipping the record over. So it's all these little rituals that allow you to experience your music in a whole new way. Number 5, vinyl online. Another thing that's helping the vinyl resurgence is the internet. More and more people are buying their records online, and if you don't happen to live near any record shops, then this is definitely your best option. Major online sites like eBay and Amazon are helping a lot of people find the vinyl records they want, and eBay especially is helpful for finding those rare records that you can't find anywhere else. Also, the rise of many vinyl online record subscription services is also helping to keep the vinyl train chugging along. Number 4, sound quality and vinyl gear. Vinyl records can sound good, but only if you have the right gear. If you buy a cheap portable turntable, don't expect miracles. But if you go that extra mile and get good equipment, then your setup will purr like a kitten. So in order to hear that warm, hi-fi analog sound that everyone talks about, you're going to need the right turntable, preamp, amplifier, and speakers. That's what I call the vinyl audio setup. So you need those 4 things to make everything work. And having a cool vinyl audio setup isn't just about how everything performs, but also how it looks. A beautiful stereo setup can really become the centerpiece of your room. And back in the day, many people really cared about their stereo setups. It was like a status symbol. If you had a turntable, a cassette deck, a reel-to-reel player, and some nice speakers, you were one cool dude. So a lot of new people are discovering what it means to take pride in their stereo setups. So I think that's definitely a good thing. Number 3, rare features. One of the first records I ever bought was Lazaretto by Jack White. And it wasn't just because I liked the music, but more so because I liked all of the interesting features of the record itself. So for example, there are 2 hidden tracks beneath the record labels, one on each side. One of them plays at 45 RPM, and then the other one plays at 78 RPM. And then all of the normal music plays at the regular 33 1/3 RPM. So this record actually plays at 3 different speeds, which is really cool. Also, side A plays from the inside out, and then side B plays like a normal record from the outside in. Also, there's a dual groove for the song Just One Drink, so depending on where you drop the needle, you might get the electric intro or you might get the acoustic intro, and then both grooves meet in the middle to finish out the rest of the song. Also, if you hadn't noticed, side A has a glossy finish that you can see, and then side B has a matte finish. It looks like an unplayed 78 RPM record. And finally, the coolest feature of all, I think, is the floating angel hologram etched into side A. So all you have to do is spin the record flat like this on your turntable, and you hold a small light directly above the record itself, and you'll see the hologram of a floating angel, which is really cool. And speaking of holograms, Techmoan did a really cool video a while back about the Star Wars Force Awakens hologram vinyl, which features both the Millennium Falcon and some really cool looking TIE fighters. So these rare features are definitely another cool, eye-catching thing that's bringing a lot more people into the vinyl community. Number 2, modern artists releasing vinyl. Another big thing that's helping boost vinyl sales is the fact that many modern pop artists are releasing their newer albums on the vinyl format. Everyone from Lana Del Rey, Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, Lindsey Sterling, Sia, Lady Gaga, Alicia Keys, Adele, Florence and the Machine, and tons of other people. So now the younger generations are starting to buy vinyl records of their favorite artists, and that's helping the vinyl resurgence as well. Number 1, you actually own the music. One of the coolest things about getting into vinyl is the fact that you actually own the music. You have control and you decide when you want to play it. Now, that simple concept is very different from streaming services where you're essentially paying a monthly amount to rent the music. But if you stop paying, or if your internet goes out, then you stop having access to all of that music. Everything just disappears, which is no fun. So unless there's a fire, a robbery, or an act of nature, then there's no chance of your vinyl records just disappearing like that. You pay once and you get to keep that record for a lifetime. It's a physical object and it's not going to go anywhere. Plus, as with all other physical media like books, CDs, cassettes, DVDs, Blu-rays, comics, VHS tapes, etc., you are in control. You decide when, how, or even if you want to play them. And when you're playing a physical object like that, there's no buffering because the internet isn't involved in this equation. So being that I'm kind of a control freak, I like actually owning the music and having control over when I play it. Now, there are a ton of other reasons that I came up with, but I just couldn't include everything in this one video because it'd be like an hour long. So anyways, what do you guys think about the vinyl resurgence, and do you agree with my list? Let us all know down in the comments below, and if you love music, join the vinyl revolution and hit subscribe, because I'm going to be coming out with a lot of great videos every week that you're not going to want to miss. Be sure to find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. All my social media links are down in the video description below. And most importantly, guys, have a great day and keep spinning that vinyl.